Hello and welcome back to another Under Pressure. Today we are looking at the new FX Crown Continuum and the new Superlite barrel system. Now I'm really excited about this. The Crown's been out for a while. It has proven itself as an incredible gun. It's extremely accurate, it's extremely versatile. You can switch out barrels, you can switch, for caliber changes. You've got the Smooth Twist X liner system. You've got 3 different types of power adjustment on it. An extremely adjustable stock, comfortable, beautiful, just about everything you could want in a gun. Now the Crown Continuum is really exciting for a few different reasons. It looks very similar to your typical first generation Crown, but there are some subtle differences and then there are some big differences here. Now if we look on top here, we've got a picatinny rail instead of a dovetail, so a lot of you are going to appreciate that. The other thing here with the action, the block here, is you've got instead of the 2 screws that went on top to anchor that barrel, you've got 4 screws, 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. So instead of just 2 screws holding that barrel down this way, you're now getting them going up like that. So you've got twice as many points of support and friction and all that sort of thing. So it's extremely solid and rigid and an improvement that way. Now what this system what this new block helps us with too is supporting a longer barrel. Now in the past, the Crown was limited basically to a 600 millimeter barrel in 25 cal or 30 cal or 22 cal. The longest you could get was 600 millimeters because the barrel is so heavy, relatively speaking. I mean, it's still fairly light, but when you're getting out there, it's pretty heavy, it's long and extended, and it's just not solid enough to go out to a 700 millimeter barrel. Now when the Impact came out with that 700 millimeter barrel and it was just so powerful and so accurate, some of us, we're kind of feeling like we were left out a little bit, those of us who own Crowns, because we couldn't shoot that 700 millimeter barrel. But now, with the combination of the new block here and the new Superlite barrel system, we can now put a 700 millimeter barrel into the Crown. Now let me show you what the previous generation of barrels look like so we can get a comparison here of what's new on this one. Now this is a first generation Crown. Looks very, very similar, but what is unique about this is this telescoping shroud. So it comes like this. If I want to make the gun quieter, I can just pull that out. When I'm ready to put it away or walking around, I retract it to get a little bit more compact. Now when I pull this out, I can see that it reveals a steel barrel housing, inside of which is the barrel liner. And that barrel liner is held in place with O-rings, and this is the system here. That's all completely different now with the new Superlite barrel system. So let's take a look at how it works. We've got the 380 millimeter barrel here, and we can see that there's no telescoping shroud. This doesn't move. So we'll unscrew this to give you a peek at what's inside here. Pull off the shroud, and this is what we've got. Now I'll point out that this is tape that I've put around these because I'm pulling these shrouds off and on all the time, and I just wanted to keep these spacers in place, and that just makes it easier. You can decide if you want to do that or not, but just note that it's not going to look like this when you get it out of the box. So we have our short little barrel liner here, and we have these spacers. Now they're pretty wide, as you can see. You've got an O-ring on the outer edge of them, and then they're held into the base here by kind of a lock nut. Now if I unscrew that lock nut, then you'll see 5 washers or 5 O-rings on the bottom that when you tighten this down, compress and lock that barrel and center it and hold it into place. What this does for us is eliminates that thinner barrel housing, and it eliminates weight And on top of that, it makes it more rigid, which is really amazing. We now have a barrel that's lighter and stronger. It's stronger because now it's this diameter of a tube that's giving you all of the support, rather than this just going on top of a thinner metal tube. Now we have a large diameter, and the larger the diameter, the more rigid it's going to be, and the more support you're going to get there. Now at this point, the liner is completely affixed. It's not going anywhere. It's not coming out. Now you can switch out these liners really easily. I've done an essentials video that I'll link to in the description below that'll show you how to switch out liners. It's really simple. You can do it, out in the field. You don't need any special tools or anything like that. It's actually, I think, easier than in the older, the original system. So you can put in your slug liners, your other pellet liners, and that sort of thing, and switch them out really easily. So just click on that link and you can see how to do that. The longer 700 millimeter barrel has 3 of these spacers rather than 2. The other difference is this shorter barrel has a let's see, where is it? So it has a vent hole that you can see right there. What that does is, helps redirect the air back away from the pellet and reducing turbulence at the end and so forth. So the larger barrel does not have that vent hole because it's just got so much volume there that FX decided it wasn't necessary. You could obviously drill a vent hole and see if it helps at all, but they didn't think it would. And the case that FX has designed is really nice. It's fits the compact configuration here, so it's a nice compact case, about the same size as an impact case, and then it's got a space for your 700 millimeter liner. And like I say, they're so easy to switch in and out that you won't really have any inconvenience there. Although if you're just going to leave the 700 millimeter barrel on there, you might buy a larger case to haul your gun around in. Now I should point out that the Superlite barrel is not just on the Crown Continuum, but that's the barrel that's going to come standard on the Crowns going forward. So you'll have the new action with the picatinny rail, you'll have the Superlite barrels, and what you get with the Continuum is the very short compact one, and then the larger, more powerful bench rest or long range shooting barrel. The one caveat with this new barrel and so forth is this, even though this section, the way it fits into the breech is the same, the 700 millimeter barrel really is still designed to go on the new block here with those 4 screws tightening it in. That's part of what works to give it that extra rigidity. So even though there's some compatibility between the new barrels and the old, if you want to shoot that 700 millimeter barrel, you really should be using it on the Gen 2 action here. So the other thing that the Crowns are coming with now is the new side shot magazine. Now this is still the same high capacity magazine that we've seen on the Crown before, but it's not the same. It's the same capacity and so forth, but it's the new side shot version, which is so much better, so much more convenient. The other magazine worked fine, but it was kind of fiddly to load. You had to put the pellet in from behind, and first pellet, that sort of thing. Now it's much easier. Just turn that 2 clicks, pop the face cap off, and turn that around so you load that spring. Pop your first pellet in, that retains that follower, and then you just fill it up with pellets. When you're done, pop that back on, twist it in place, and you're good to go. These, if you want to buy replacements or extras, they're also cheaper than the original magazines were, which is a plus. They're better and cheaper. I can't complain about that. Well, that's enough talk. You guys want to know how the accuracy is going to compare between the shorter barrel and the longer barrel, what kind of velocities we're going to get, and so forth. So let's go shoot this thing. Now I'm loaded up with JSB 18.13 grain heavies. We're going to do a full shot string. We'll get the number of shots per fill, we'll get the velocity, and we'll get the standard deviation, all that good stuff. Now I've got it set on, the transfer port is set on the 22 caliber setting, and we have the hammer spring set at setting 5, so the second highest setting, and I think that's where we want it to be pretty much for these GSB heavies. So let's get started. With a 250 bar fill, the transfer port set on medium, or that is 177/22, and the hammer spring set on power level 5, which were the settings that we found the GSB 18 grain heavies to shoot most accurately at. We got a total of 144 shots. Now we could have gotten even more, but it was clear that at about shot 100, it went off the regulator. And actually our velocities began to climb as the pressure equalized and it just flowed through the regulator. But going on 100 shots, we had a standard deviation of 5.4, an extreme spread of 27 for an average muzzle velocity of 902 feet per second and an average foot-pounds at the muzzle of 32.76 foot-pounds. Now this is 100 shots, full power, extreme accuracy, really incredible, and when you realize that you could actually, push it a little farther if you wanted, this is really, really remarkable. Shooting the 380 millimeter barrel with the moderator attached, we got a high of 86.4 decibels. With the 700 millimeter barrel, without the moderator, we had a high of 88.1 decibels, which is still very respectable and backyard friendly. When we put the moderator on with the 700 millimeter barrel, we got a high of 86.4 decibels, so very quiet again. We're at the 100-yard range. I've got the shorty barrel on, so 22 caliber with 380 millimeter barrel. We've got 10 JSB 18.13 heavies loaded up, and we're going to see how it does out at 100 yards. Now I've got the 700 millimeter barrel on there with the pellet liner A in it. We're going to shoot the JSB heavies, 18.13 grains, got 10 pellets loaded up, and we're going to see how it does. Now we're loaded up with 10 Nielsen 23 grain slugs. We've got the 700 millimeter barrel on with a slug liner A in it, and we're going to see how it does here. Now, we just skipped our 30-yard range altogether. I could show you groups, but it's just ridiculous. They're so small. At 30 yards of this gun, there's just no point to shooting it. As I'm shooting the groups, I'm just grinning to myself. I know how accurate FX guns are. I know how they perform, but it still just surprises me. Every time I sit down with a new gun, and I'm just like, oh, I just cannot believe that they just keep going in that same hole, and that hole just keeps getting just a tiny bit larger every shot. You have to look really closely. So we just went to send it out to 100 yards to see what it could do. So let's take a look at some of these groups here. So here's our 38 millimeter barrel at 100 yards shooting the JSB 18 grainers. Now I had the transfer port set on the middle setting, which is the 17722 setting, and I had the hammer spring back down to power level 4. That seemed to give me the best accuracy. Again, the barrel's shorter, so you have less time for that air to expand and calm down a little bit before the pellet goes out. And so the lower power settings seem to work a little bit better. Now, this shot right here was a called flyer. The trigger broke right. I knew it as soon as I pulled the trigger. So you can disregard that one, and we're left with a really pretty darn good group. I think this was the first shot, so again, that may have been on me. I thought it broke well, but in any case, like I said, we're going to disregard this shot. We have 9 shots in 1 1/4 inches, and if we take out that shot, we have 8 of them in 3/4 of an inch. At 100 yards with a 380 millimeter barrel, that is just phenomenal accuracy. And like I said, we can take that one or leave it. It's still a really, really darn good group. And then I put the 700 millimeter barrel on, still shooting the JSB 18 grain heavies, and this is the group I shot. Now, it wasn't the first group. The first group I shot, I had it maxed out, hammer spring on power level, on max, transfer port, on max also. And the group wasn't good. So I turned the transfer port down to the medium setting, the 17722 setting, turned the hammer spring down to 5, and then I raised my scope up more than I needed to, obviously. And actually, I moved it up too far. I shot this sider, and then I turned the scope, when I saw it was so high, I turned the scope down and it barely dropped the group at all. That's how I know the scope was too high. But the point of this is to say that this is actually, I then loaded up another pellet and shot a 10-shot group right here. So this is a full 10-shot group. As you can see, it's just a fabulous group. I put my thumb on there, easily under 1 inch, and it was just as easy as can be. This gun is just laser accurate. And of course, you have the option to put in, a pellet liner B. You can, if you want to shoot the heavy pellets, these are optimized to just give you perfect results every time. Or you can put in a slug liner. And that's what I did for this group here. Now, this is a really incredible group for 100 yards. Unfortunately, it wasn't 100 yards. It's got the preset buttons on the machine. I thought I hit the 100 yards, and it went out to 75 yards, and I shot, and I was just tickled pink with it. This is incredible that it's shooting as well as the pellets. But when I went to bring it, when I came back and looked through the footage, I saw that I had actually just gone to 75 yards. So this is a 75-yard group, still a very good group for 75 yards. You can see that it probably opened up a little bit more at 100, but really, really good accuracy with the slug liner, and these are the Nielsen 23 grain 22 caliber slugs. So a really good option there. Again, you have just incredible versatility with this gun. You can go short, you can go long, you can do slugs, you can do any kind of pellets you want. Really remarkable. And what was great was that I could switch between the 380 millimeter barrel, I could switch to the 700 millimeter barrel shooting pellets, I could switch to the slugs, and it was just with a click of a couple of knobs here that I could just get every one of them shooting dead on. just in minutes. I mean, and now that I know the settings, it's just seconds. I just boom, boom, and know what to do. So it's just a really remarkable and really unparalleled system in the airgun world. So let's go ahead and sum up here. We've got really three things that we're talking about. We've got the new Crown, which has the new action and the Superlite barrel, and we have the Continuum. Now for me, the Continuum is a fabulous value because for $100 more, you're getting an extra barrel that gives you it's a Continuum. It gives you the whole range of what you could possibly want to do with your Crown. From the long-range shooting, the bench rest sort of shooting, to the really compact hunting or backyard plinking, carried in your truck, sort of a compact gun. It's just a fabulous way to go. And you can get it in this new, yellow jacket stock, also in the laminate, in the synthetic, in the walnut, and so forth. The Superlite barrel system is really exciting. It's extremely accurate. It's rigid, you don't have to worry about point of impact shifts, and it's just going to be a really strong, durable barrel. Now, altogether, FX has just done it again. I mean, they're continually improving. If you've got a previous generation Crown, you don't need to feel bad. I mean, whenever you buy an FX product, you just know that they're going to keep improving it, but the one you have is always going to be extremely good. But if you're just getting into this, then this is a great way to go because you're getting, two barrels for almost the price of one. I mean, all in all, the Crown itself is a fabulous value. Now with the Crown Continuum, where you get an extra barrel for just $100, I mean, that's less than what the barrel liners themselves cost. So you're getting just a fabulous value here. You're getting all the adjustability of a Crown. I mean, you've got 3 power adjustments on it. You've got the adjustable stock, the butt pad, removable bottles, and now picatinny rail. It's just a fabulous gun, and one that you should look very closely at if you're considering getting into a really nice PCP that you just want to enjoy and not have any regrets about buying. Now, if you found this video helpful or enjoyed it at all, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate that, and make sure you stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching.